Hey everyone, Arthur here. Guess what? The final wave is real after all. I can't believe this. Messed up my whole schedule here. So yeah, check this out. There is a special backwards compatible sale going on that's going to end in the day of the shutdown. And on top of that, there are some non-backwards compatible games added, and even some DLCs are getting discounts or even went free, which is unbelievable. That's what we were asking for, man, and they got it. But they're telling no one about it. Have you heard of this? What is going on? But before we get there, do pay attention to the explanation after the intro, because the discounted backwards compatible games cannot be found on the Xbox 360 right now, not on the console store itself, nor on the 360 marketplace website. This sale is taking place in the regular Microsoft Store for One and Series, but it's a specific backwards compatible sale ending on July 29th. So I believe several of these games are not likely to go on sale again. They're meant to be in commemoration of the shutdown. Not that that's something worth commemorating. Okay, so let's do this. Time is strictly of the essence now, so I won't even talk about many of these games. I'll feature some of the ones I think are lesser known in a bit more detail in the beginning, then the DLC section, then I'll go lightning fast through the rest of the list to launch this video as fast as possible. So let's go. Stick with me in the next part after the quick intro, where I'll explain how to do this, even if you don't live in the US, which is my case, because there is a workaround. Alright, let's go. Welcome to the channel. This is From the Void. Okay, for anyone in the US, this is simple. You can simply find the game in the Microsoft Store by searching it, which will take you to the games page, and buy it normally there. Just make sure you're using the account you also use on the 360 when making the purchase. Then after buying, simply turn on your Xbox 360, scroll all the way to the right, select account, download history, and you should find the game you purchased there. If you want to test it once, grab one of the free DLCs, which you can simply get without paying anything for them, then go to the Xbox 360 and download it. By the way, one time I tried to do this, when re-downloading it from the download history, they tried charging me for the DLC, but I cancelled out of it and opened it again, and then it worked. So if that happens to you as well, don't worry. But for someone like myself who uses a US account but is not in the US, nor have a American credit card, things are a bit more complicated. This sale is happening in the US. A similar list may be on other regions, I'm not sure, I don't have time to check that, so please check the Microsoft Store on your end. But if you're like me, in a NTSC US region, but not in the US physically, when buying a game, the site will want to check your billing address to make sure you're using an American one. The same thing happens in the old Xbox 360 marketplace site, but there it makes it impossible for me to buy games because it won't allow me to use PayPal or even gift cards, which sucks. But here, it allows at least the gift cards, 100% confirmed, possibly PayPal too, I'm not sure. But in either case, you will need to insert an American billing address, so just find an American address on Google for a hotel or something and put that information in your billing address. Then you can complete the purchase, but we are not done yet. And this next part is very important because I don't want you to fall into the same trap I fell into. Don't turn your 360 yet. Instead, still on the Microsoft site, go to your Microsoft account information page and change back your billing information to match the same country of your IP address. That's because Xbox Live on the 360 hates it when your account has non-matching billing information to your geolocation. It will not allow you to purchase anything and will even log you off randomly. So make sure to change the billing information back and then log into the Xbox 360, alright? Then it's the same. Simply go to account, download history, and find the purchased game there. Okay, with that, we are ready to take a look at the games. Let's go! Alright, let's begin with the non-backwards compatibles. And first, the two Dishwashers. Original is called The Dishwasher Dead Samurai, and it's a rad video game. It's a side-scroller hack and slash where every encounter poses a real challenge. There's an incredible amount of mobility in this game. You are free to even teleport anywhere you want. You also have multiple weapons and stuff you keep unlocking, but the enemies are no joke. You can die rather quickly here with just a couple of mistakes in a row. To balance it out a bit, if you manage to do the correct finishing move on stun enemies, they will drop hearts to replenish your health. So yeah, great game here, and the discount is dropping the price to measly 99 cents, totally worth it. Then the second Dishwasher feels much more approachable, at least in the first entire half, mostly because the enemies have much less health. The entire game is better polished, but I like both Dishwashers a lot, and the original never left the Xbox 360. It's 100% exclusive, while this one is also hard to find elsewhere. So with the 99 cents price tag, these are the easiest picks ever.
Kicking A's, I'm stomping bones in cemetery, yeah.
Same goes for the other game from Ska Studios, Charlie Murder. This is so cool. It's a beat 'em up and a great one in my opinion. It counts with deep customization for your equipment, with hats, pants, gloves and even tattoos. The gameplay is really tight. You have access to a wide variety of different combos, and it even shakes things up with a lot of creative sections with different gameplay like driving sections and band practice. And to top it off, a freaking great punk rock soundtrack, man. Pick this one up for sure for 99 cents, and this is a console exclusive to the Xbox 360, only found on PC elsewhere. Next, we move to the backwards compatible list. From now on, all games must be purchased through the Xbox One and Series store, and then downloaded in your 360 through the download history. First, we have Dungeons & Dragons Chronicles of Mystara. This is an excellent beat-em-up compilation from Capcom with two great arcade originals, Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom and Dungeons & Dragons Shadow over Mystara. The parts are excellent, bringing over both games faithfully and adding extra features, such as improved graphics and especially the extra rules you can opt to include that add a welcome replayability. The gameplay is excellent, with the many characters controlling widely different from each other. If you're into beat 'em ups, and especially if you have friends or family to play this with, do yourself a favor and get Chronicles of Mystara now that it's going for $2.99, less than $2 per title. Moving on to the excellent western shooter Call of Juarez Gunslinger. This is very underrated in my opinion because it's an excellent shooter, totally focused on the action, though voiceover and narration also do a great work of telling the story during the shootouts in a great way, which is hard to explain. The graphics are wonderful and the soundtrack is perfect. This is a mighty fine game and it's a steal for mere $2.99, easy pick. This next one is a total blast and a must play, Battleblock Theater. What a great game here. This is a side-scroller platformer, standard stuff, collect the gems, some are very hidden and optional, there's a big amount of stages, blocks on the stage cause different effects like launching you in different ways, teleporting, passing through, it's all very well made, plus the game counts with a hilariously funny narrator, a deep and satisfying multiplayer, a great level creator, and excellent controls for everything. Amazing game here from the behemoth and a steal for less than $5, go right ahead. This next one is such a wonderful and surprising game, a hallmark of this generation that deserves a sequel for sure. This is Brutal Legend. This is a true action-adventure game with the biggest personality ever. There's nothing quite like it. Pretty awesome premise of a metal rock world, and it's full of humor, and the soundtrack is wholly made of metal band songs. The gameplay is incredibly ambitious, offering a lot of action and adventuring, and also a kind of real-time strategy mixed with rock and roll concerts that will completely surprise most players, because those are also pretty well made. I mean, yeah, this is an excellent game, so if you haven't yet, now is a great time to pick it up for $3.74. Moving on to the masterpiece shmup Radiant Silvergun. This is formidable, a very well crafted shoot 'em up here with loads of different weapons and interesting enemy formations. Must play for shoot 'em up fans, period. The discount is not the best though, it's half off going for $7.50. And an even bigger shoot 'em up masterpiece is also on sale, Ikaruga. No need to explain this one, I guess. It's my favorite shoot 'em up of all time. The light and dark duology is easy to understand, very hard to master, and an absolute thrill when you get the hang of it. Another must play for shoot 'em up fans, going for cheap, only $4.99. Next is the beautiful Lost Odyssey. This is a largely misunderstood turn-based RPG on the 360. The story is mesmerizing, very emotional, the entire presentation is gorgeous, both visuals and sound, and the combat is great with both a lot of room to strategize as well as a welcome action element in the prompt command attacks. This got a meaningful price discount from 25 to 8 something bucks, and I also think this tends to get more expensive physically, so you may want to grab it digitally now. Following up with DuckTales Remastered. This is a must-have in my opinion, a genius platforming gameplay. This remaster has extra features such as the beautifully reworked graphics and soundtrack, and most notably, the voiceover from the original cast of actors of the animated series, which is the coolest, most wholesome, heartwarming thing ever, especially considering that several of them were very senior at the time, including Alan Young as Scrooge McDuck, who was 93 and delivered a stellar performance. So yeah, grab this for sure. It's going for $3.74, which to me is a bargain considering this game's value. This next one I think is better than most people think, and what about this soundtrack? Holy shit! And this is straight from the void, man, let's go! This is Dark Void. Dark Void definitely didn't reach its full potential, okay? The ideas here are awesome and could have made for a masterpiece game, but this was also ahead of its time, especially on the action side. I love the vertical shootout sections, those are pretty cool, but yeah, I agree that the game is lacking in terms of polish in many ways, and the world they made here needed a lot more work. I just think this is better than a 5 or so, which is what most reviewers gave it back in the day. To me, this is like a 7 or so, and I think it's worth playing for the unique ideas despite the shortcomings, so maybe grab it now that it's on discount, going for $2.99. Next, alien guy there shot some darkness at the sun, and now it has become the insanely twisted Shadow Planet. This is a major highlight, I love this game, glad to feature it here. This is a side-scroller Metroidvania of sorts, and a rather creative one, where you control a little UFO that keeps getting all kinds of gadgets with which you can analyze and manipulate the environment, defeat enemies and solve puzzles. The action is actually awesome here. Right from the start, enemies are ruthless. I love this, from graphics to ambience to the whole gameplay with the many things it has to offer. This is an easy pick for $3.74. Next is something else, man. Insanely creative game here. This is Stacking. This is a Double Fine game, a good sign of quality there, and what a remarkable game. This is a adventure puzzler where you control a little Matryoshka doll, and it's the smallest kind that won't open any further, but with it you can stack into other bigger dolls, and you have to do it in an increasing manner, step by step. You have to get behind a doll though to be able to jump into it, but many of them will not allow you to do that. So you you gotta figure out how to distract them and stuff. Every single doll has a unique skill. Many are worthless, just there for the humor, but several others will be used in the puzzles. And you have to figure that out yourself. It's awesome. And there are always several ways to solve a puzzle. For instance, to get past this guard here, you can get into the maintenance worker doll to bust open the air duct and go through there. Or you can seduce the guard with the mistress doll and lure him away, then exit the lady doll and get into the guard while he's distracted and then open the door as him. The game even rewards you for finding every solution to many of the puzzles. I love this. Excellent hidden gem here, so do consider picking it up for $3.74. And while you're at it, pick up the DLC, which is a proper expansion that used to cost $5, but it's completely free now. I'll mention this again in the DLC section just in case. Next is Blue Dragon. People have grown more and more fond of this game as time goes by. There's a lot of attention to detail here and a lot of heart too. One of the best works of Akira Toriyama in this game, especially the monsters. And there is a lot more to enjoy here for a traditional turn-based RPG fan. It's going for $6.59 now, and I think this game is getting more expensive physically, so you may want to take advantage of the discount. Next is Flock! Exclamation point. There's another game called Flock without the exclamation that just came out a week or two ago, coincidentally. Seems like a great game, by the way. This one is also cool and weird. It's a puzzle action game from Capcom where you have to find ways to shepherd the flocks and guide them to the tractor beam of your mothership. There are other animals to guide with very different behaviors, which is cool. They're all afraid of you though, because you're aliens, so they will go to the opposite direction of your movement. Meanwhile, you need to create paths for them to pass through and reach the mothership by using your tractor beam to manipulate the environment in many clever and creative ways. I love this kind of thing. However, it's a little easily frustrating of a game too. If you're a perfectionist and losing one sheep will make you want to restart every time, Flock will be very unnerving to you probably. Otherwise, this is worth picking up and the $2.99 price feels just right. This game is also found physically in the Capcom Digital Collection. Next is Midway Arcade Origins. This is pretty cool, man. It's a compilation of a whole bunch of arcade games from the 1980s, not 1990s, real old stuff here. But most of them are really cool and unusual. I don't have time to go into each one, so I'm just gonna give you some highlights here. Zybots is an impressive pseudo 3D shooter with real tight controls. Bubble is a game that must be an inspiration for Katamari. It's so cool to see the origins of things here in older games like this. You're a bubble in a sink and have to clear it from microbes and little ants while avoiding big creatures. As you consume them, you get bigger, and if you get about as big as the enemies, instead of defeating you, you push each other. And by getting bigger than them, you can consume them. And this is exactly like Katamari. Great game here, Bubble. Defender and Defender 2 are famous. These are frenetic shooters where you can even save little humans and place them back in the surface. This is really hard, but I like it a lot. Gauntlet and Gauntlet 2 are also insanely hard games, which are better in multiplayer. Cool to see the origins of the series here. Marble Madness is another famous pseudo 3D game, all about following the track and avoiding the hazards, including tall drops. We also have the original Rampage here, which is awesome. Root Beer Tapper is a great idea for a game where you have to fill mugs of beer and pass them to customers and collect the empty glasses before falling. Lots of fun. Smash TV is an absolute classic. Must Play, which is I think the original twin stick shooter. Insanely fun game. And Joust, another classic, which is also available standalone and getting a discount going for $164 now. But I'd pick the compilation, which is going for $4.99 and adds a whole lot more. Next is an unexpectedly positive turn-based RPG called Faery Legends of Avalon. This is a very classic style turn-based RPG, not too many new ideas here when it comes to the combat, except maybe that it uses the less common D&D style of action points rather than mana. Exploration is a major highlight though. You can freely fly around as a fairy, and it feels great to have such freedom from so early on in an RPG. Interacting with NPCs plays a big role too. You can recruit some of them, and customization is another strong focus. As you level up, you pick skills that even change your appearance. This is pretty cool. The game is not too long for an RPG, a bit less than 10 hours, so the bite size may be attractive for some, especially now that it's super cheap for $139. And I finally get to talk about Super Meat Boy, hell yeah! This is one of my favorite games ever. I played this 2 bits and had a blast. Y'all know about it, I won't say much. This is a superbly excellent precision platformer, but you don't need to be hardcore about the genre to enjoy it, because it's tailor-made to retry over and over, not feeling too punishing. But there is something some of you may not know about this version. More recent re-releases of the game changed the soundtrack due to a falling out between the developer and the composer, Danny Baranovsky, and that's tragic, cause seriously, this guy is one of the best in the biz. The track you're hearing now is from him, and I find the new soundtrack not even 1/10 as good as the original. But from the PlayStation 4 onwards, all versions have the less good soundtrack in my opinion. So I see the 360 as a perfect place to play this, especially due to the backwards compatibility aspect, so you can play this with the original soundtrack on a Xbox Series, for instance, which is pretty cool. And this game is getting a 75% discount, going for less than $5 now. Next is the absolutely kick-ass Asura's Wrath. Asura's Wrath is truly something to behold, as cinematic as they come, with loads of over-the-top action, bigger-than-life boss fights, really cool characters, just pure awesomeness all around, with the angriest main character in all of video games. Be aware though that this has an insanely important bunch of DLCs that you must get if you're planning to play this, because it's simply the end of the story in DLC form. So it definitely helps a lot that the price of the game dropped to $3.99 to ease the pain of the DLC purchases. Next is Bionic Commando Rearmed 2. Both Rearmed games keep the high challenge and the movement limitations of the originals, which is what made the series so unique, but some may not like it. It's a different approach to side-scroller action platformers for sure, but if you're okay with a tough gameplay, there's a lot to enjoy here. Excellent games, both of them, but only the second is getting a discount for $2.99. Moving on to Costume Quest. This is an RPG, and what's cool about it is that the costume the kids use in your party will transform them into giant robots and creatures of all shapes when you get into battle. I love this idea. It's a great RPG. There are active aspects to the combat as well, with timed button inputs and lots of experimentation with all the costumes, so this is well worth the discounted price of $3.74. Next is, I believe, a very obscure hidden gem, Darwinia Plus. What a unique game, or couple of games. This also counts with the multiplayer called Multivinia. But what this is a digital ecosystem that has been infected by a virus, and it's up to you to protect it. The game plays like a RTS, but there are hundreds, if not thousands of units at once, so you can create rules for them to follow. It's pretty cool. Some may prefer the PC version for the mouse and keyboard controls, but this works pretty well too. This was very well received, and it's going for $3.74, quite a bargain. Next is Street Fighter IV. I don't need to say anything about Street Fighter IV, right? Fantastic game, and it's going for $3.99. Thing is, of course, that this is vanilla Street Fighter IV, and there are several improved versions of the game, adding more characters and extra features, and freaking Ultra Street Fighter IV, the final iteration, is also on sale, but as a DLC upgrade to Super Street Fighter IV Arcade Edition, which so happened to be the version I have physically. So I grabbed the Ultra Street Fighter IV DLC, thank you very much. That effectively upgrades Super to Ultra, adding even more characters, and it's going for $2.99 only. And with this, we enter the DLC section. Let's go! Okay, we're we're gonna talk about a whole bunch of Call of Duties on sale very soon, but for Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, there's a free variety pack you can grab. This was not free before and it's a multiplayer focused DLC. Then for Castlevania Harmony of Despair, which is a multiplayer focused Castlevania game and probably better than you think if you haven't played it yet, you can grab a free new character in Yoko Belnades, so go right ahead and do that. I already spoke about stacking and mentioned the DLC, which is nothing less than a proper expansion, and it's also free, and the same goes for another game I also already mentioned, Costume Quest, which also offers an expansion called Grubbins on Ice, which is going for no charge. Pick it up. And even more incredibly than that is the map pack for Halo 4, which used to be 25 bucks and is now completely free. And I could also find 2 DLCs for Split Second. The Elite Vehicle Livery pack is going for freaking free, and the High Octane Supercar Vehicle pack is getting a 60% discount going for $199. And finally, a couple additional characters for King of Fighters 13 are getting a 20% discount. Those are Mr. Karate and Nest Style Kyo. Okay, now really fast, I wish I could go into detail about all of these, but I must release the video as fast as possible, so lightning fast now. You blinked, you missed it. Both Castlevania Lords of Shadows are getting substantial discounts. These are better than most people think. I love the original and 2 is still solid. One is going for $6.59 and 2 for $7.99. Then the world building games, which are excellent and very obscure, A Kingdom for Keflings and A World of Keflings, are both going for $2.49. Great picks. Shred Nebula is one I never tried but seems to be a solid twin stick shooter, so I picked it up for $2.49 and I'm sure I won't regret it. Red Faction Armageddon is an excellent third-person shooter, much like its predecessor, Red Faction Guerrilla, which is also on sale, but as a non-backwards compatible game, you must find that one on the 360 store. Armageddon is getting a $25 discount. Alien Hominid is going for $3.29. Game's excellent, a classic indie, but has recently gotten a remaster on Switch, PC, Xbox One and Series. Not sure if the remaster enhances the game in meaningful ways though. 2 Earth Defense Force games are on sale. I've been meaning to play these for a while. I know they're flawed, but super fun and chaotic third-person shooters against a giant insect invasion, which is awesome. 2017 is going for $4.49 and 2025 is going for $7.49. All 3 Lost Planet games are getting discounts. Colonies Edition is an enhanced version of the first one, and all 3 are excellent games, going for $3.99 each. The 2 Star Wars Force Unleashed games are going for $6.99 each. I haven't played either. I remember people liking the original better than the sequel, that's it. Onechanbara Bikini Samurai Squad is a guilty pleasure, I think. I haven't played it, but people seem to suggest that if you can laugh at the absurdity, over-the-topness, and excessive eroticism, there is a mindless hack and slash to enjoy here. These have been getting more expensive physically too. The Witcher 2, which is the enhanced edition here with all the DLCs, is going for $3.99, and this is a massive game, over 10 gigabytes here I believe. Next is Fight Night Champion. The game is great, all Fight Nights are, so if you're into boxing games with tight controls, take advantage of this sale, dropping the price by 15 bucks down to $4.99. Toy Story 3 is going for $2.49. I know nothing about it, seems fun though. Skate 3 is getting a 15 bucks discount going for $4.99. A whole bunch of Call of Duties are on sale, not the biggest discounts though, all half off. You can see all of them on screen now. Like I said previously, the Variety Pack DLC is free for Call of Duty 4. Dead Space 2 and 3 are going for $3.99 each, quite a bargain. I like 2 more than most, and 3 I have only played a little bit, but I know the DLC expansion makes it better. Disney Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two, is a pretty solid action-adventure platformer for $4.99 now. Both Dragon Age Origins and 2 are getting whopping discounts. Origins is going for $150 and 2 is going for $199. Excellent games. Escape That Island I know nothing about, it's going for $2.99. Fables 2 and 3 are half off for $9.99. Joyride Turbo is going for $2.49. Port Royale 3, honestly never heard of it till now, it's 75% off for $5. Rayman Origins is excellent, wonderful platformer with great graphics and great controls, going for $4.99. Resident Evil Code Veronica X is pretty cool, and I believe this is the most recent version of the game, going for $3.99. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City is also $3.99. This one is not very liked, so I skipped it, because I hear that in single player the AI controlled team members are not reliable, and this game is all about the squads. I don't know, let me know if you found the single player worthwhile. Scream Ride seems pretty cool. It's a roller coaster simulator. I don't gravitate to those very much, but this one seems excellent for a fan of the genre, and it's going for $4.99 now. Split Second is also $4.99 and is an excellent racer with stunts and drifts and a spectacle really. And I also remind you about the discounted and free DLCs too. Alan Wake is $6.59 now. It got a remaster recently, but I don't know yet how they stack up against each other. Alan Wake's American Nightmare is a spin-off of that game with the same mechanisms for combat with the flashlight and all. Pretty great game too, only found on Xboxes and PCs I believe, and it's going for $3.29, so I picked this one up to try it out later. F.E.A.R 2 is a first-person shooter horror game. I really want to try the series out. I may pick it up as well for $4.99. Fallout 3 and New Vegas are excellent and pretty cheap with the discounts, $2.49 for 3 and $4.99 for New Vegas. The original Mass Effect has a remaster in the Legendary Edition, which I believe makes it better in every way, so grab that if possible, otherwise it's $4.99 with the discount. Then Raw, Realms of Ancient War is a Diablo-like that people are not very fond of. It's super cheap for $1.49 though. And finally a whole bunch of LEGO games that you can see on screen now getting substantial discounts as well. And that's it everyone, hope I could help you in making your 360 as awesome as it can be before the stores close with these sales. If you appreciate the work, do me a solid and share it around, and the best way to support me is on Patreon, like these generous people you're seeing now. Kinda have to say this because the money from YouTube is really not even close to enough to sustain my family and I, so the only way I can see this working is if I get enough Patreon support. I'm just being real with you all here, okay? If I can't make the channel sustainable, I'll have to stop it or drastically reduce it and focus on my other job, which is what brings more money right now. And you know, if it has to come to that, that's okay. You know, it's life. I'm not complaining, I'm not begging. I just think it's worth saying because $1 from about 1% of the viewership would be enough. So just in case you see the value in the channel continuing to exist, you can chip in through Patreon, and I can guarantee I will do my best to honor it and continue to deserve it. But no hard feelings, no pressure, nothing, just life. Alright, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you soon.